Welcome back, fiber friends. Today we're washing some old fleece. So as I mentioned, today we are going to be scouring old fleece. So something that I see discussed a lot is people who are worried about or don't know how to approach cleaning fleeces that they've maybe had in their possession for a really long time and have gone unscoured. This isn't that uncommon. A lot of people accidentally amass a pretty large fleece stash. And so today I'm going to talk about, like my experiences and how I'm approaching cleaning some of these fleeces that are over 20 years old in some cases. So these fleeces are actually not from my personal collection. A while back, I went to the estate sale of a master spinner in my area. I picked up a few different really neat things, but I mostly picked up secondhand fleece. Some of these fleeces were bought in like 2019. Some of them were bought in 2005. Some of the boxes we opened did have moth and insect damage, so these boxes have actually been baking in my car for a while now. If you don't know what that means, I do recommend like quarantining fleece that you may be worried about insects being in, especially if it is secondhand or even not. It's just a good precaution before you bring anything into your collection and your stash, especially if you're going to keep it dirty for a significant amount of time. So dirty fleece always will attract more insects and rodents, etc., all that stuff, than a clean fleece. So that is worth keeping in mind if that is something you're really worried about. So the first thing that we're going to do is kind of assess the fleeces. I'm going to show you guys what we have. Okay, so what do I actually have here today? What are we scouring? So first things first, this is a Wensleydale lamb fleece. It's just like in an old A&P bag. As you can see, it's from Maryland in '05, and it's about 7 to 8 inches. That's the deets that we have. So old fleeces, right? Somebody might be asking, like, why even bother cleaning an old fleece? I do think that old fleeces can still have some really quality fiber in them. I think this is a great example, right? So this, like, I think just look at that visually. That's beautiful, right? It's really, really beautiful. These locks are outstanding. And it is going to be tougher to get this lanolin off, right? So over time, as I mentioned, the lanolin will solidify and become really like waxy, sometimes a little tacky. And so it's just going to take a little bit more effort to clean these fleeces. I'm going to probably have to do like smaller batches and really make sure everything's separated so the hot water and the soap can permeate as deeply as possible. And I'm going to show you guys that process because a lot of the times my approach to cleaning medium fleeces is pretty laissez-faire. I do think I want to let these guys pre-soak, but I don't know how long I'm actually going to be able to let them pre-soak. I don't think they've ever been pre-soaked though, so I'm definitely going to do at least like a rinse, right? A cold water rinse. And then we also have, this is a Lincoln Suffolk cross, black and silver, 5-inch staple length, about 6 pounds. It's from Richard Farm, New Haven, Indiana. Lustrous, soft. Yeah, that's the deets. And this is another really pretty fleece, really nice lock structure, that I just never seen the cross before, and I was really curious about working with the fiber. I'm just gonna pull this up. Like, I don't know if that luster, I think, is really picking up on screen well. I don't know, all of a sudden I feel like my camera captures, like, a lot of other fleeces not to my liking, but I do feel like it makes curly fleeces look beautiful. Some of this, like, I feel like some of the more coarse fiber hasn't necessarily been removed from in here, but I'm gonna start by cleaning the, like, creme de la creme of the fiber. I do think this one's gonna be easier to clean just by, like, feeling it. The lanolin isn't as solidified as that other fleece. So I do think there's going to be a significant difference in difficulty. Like, I think that 2 decades, that's going to be a toughie. But listen, that's what we're doing today, right? Because I don't know, if you follow me on TikTok, you know that I've definitely been posting more, like, sustainability related content. My background is in environmental science. It's something that's like an integral part of me. I can't remove it. And so even in my art and craft, like, I understand that I do an art and a craft that already doesn't have a terrible environmental impact, right? Especially because, like, I'm pedaling my own wheel, right? Like, in a lot of cases, it doesn't even use electricity. But I like to approach things in a way that, I think sustainability can be a really inspiring thing for art and make us more innovative. So I love using secondhand materials in new and different ways. I'm really looking to maybe like spin these up and ply them with some other secondhand materials that I've acquired to make new yarns. I don't know. I feel like I really hit an art block for a while. I'm gonna be totally honest. I finished my first 2 skeins of yarn in like a month, and I was like, it took me like the whole month to spin them, and I remember spinning them. Like, I feel like I made a concerted effort to sit down a lot and spin, and I did purposefully put something on each of my wheels. I think that was the problem too. I was using my shaft and I didn't put anything on my lendrum, and I feel like that slowed me down. I like to have a project already set up on my wheel so that when I finish a project on another wheel, it's like ready to go. But I'll grab those skeins. So these are the skeins. I have to say, like, they're beautiful. This one is beautiful. Look at those locks. So this has Wensleydale locks in it. Fun fact, I think it's from Windsong Farm, if I'm not mistaken. I really like their Wensleydale fiber and their Wensleydale locks. This was from the 4-ounce bag that I purchased, and I also have another dye from them. I think it's like their antique colorway or something, and it's beautiful, and it's so soft. It's so soft, and I'm gonna buy a lot more stuff from them if I see them at any of the fiber shows this fall. But I blended that with a little bit of Polworth silk and different teal merinos and, like, I guess seafoam merinos, and I think it turned out really, really nice. I'm really happy with that. And this is the leftovers. I just turned it into like a little mini 2-ply. I have their tags, oh, right here. So the big one's 90 yards and the little one is 26. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna name them yet, but I really like them. They make me happy. They remind me of the ocean. Okay, so lying this fleece out, I actually decided I'm gonna split this into 2. So I'm gonna try to scour some of this without pre-soaking, and then I'm also going to pre-soak this other half, and then we're gonna compare the results to see like if one of them is easier to do than the other. As you can see, this is beautiful. I decided I'm not going to put them in these bags. These are the bags that I usually use for like lock by lock scouring, I guess is what I would call it. And I really think, I don't know, I've really been steered away from the bags because I feel like they kind of compress the fiber, especially ones that are weighed down with as much lanolin as this is. I don't like to clean like Lincoln fleeces in these bags for that reason anymore. I really like to let the locks like free flow and just make sure I don't overfill this basin with fleece. So that's what I'm going to do for this too. Again, you might approach this very differently, and that's totally rad, right? I am just recording the way that I'm approaching cleaning these fleeces, and we're learning something together, and we're going to do science. We're going to do a comparison between the two. I think that'll be cool. This initial scour and soak was just to get an assessment on exactly what we were working with. I didn't separate the locks quite yet, but I have to say, even after one scour, this fleece came surprisingly clean. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with it was a lamb's fleece. It was kept in good conditions. This is the water after coming back from 20 minutes. Okay, and I have to say, guys, after one scour, like, she's looking so nice. She's looking so clean. Obviously, she's not perfect. She's gonna get another bath, but like, goddamn, do I even need to pre-soak the other one? So here are my recommendations for getting tough old lanolin off of fleece. This took about 4 to 5 deep scours. I made sure to never let the water cool down very much before dumping it off because I want to make sure that that lanolin does not re-solidify. After the initial scour, in between the scours, I would wait for the locks to cool down and I would separate them from the base to the tip the best that I could, because I noticed that a lot of the toughest, most stubborn lanolin was sitting at the very tips of this fiber. I'm not sure if this is just like a long wool thing or if this is a generalized tip. It's just something that I noticed, and it really helped me get that lanolin all off of the fleece. This is always good advice, but this is especially the case with older fleeces. Do not overfill the container that you're scouring with because it will not be as effective. And this is the one case where I will recommend using something that is actually designed to remove lanolin as opposed to a general cleanser. Sometimes all you have to do is scour some wool. Man, I feel like I've had such an art block this month, and yesterday while I was scouring, I literally spun an entire 4 ounces. This is a teal to yellow gradient. If you've been with the channel for a while and you saw this stuff that I got at think I got it at Maryland Sheep and Wool. Maryland Sheep and Wool. Sorry, I like woke up super recently and I'm still pretty groggy. But yeah, I spun this all yesterday and I need to put something brand new on the Lendrum. And I was thinking of going through this box of Selvedge that I got from Nouveau. So if you follow me on TikTok, you've probably already seen it. Getting this on screen is going to be a pain. Here's the box of Selvedge. It is like 20 plus pounds of industrial weaving selvage that I am planning on. Some of it, a lot of it, I'm going to spin. Like I'm going to add some twists to it. And ply it with some other stuff to make some fringy yarns. I have some ideas as to what I'm going to do with those fringy yarns too. And then some of the pieces that are already a little bit more like, there are some pieces that are a touch unraveled. And I don't think will hold together as well for spinning. And so those I'm going to shred and turn into fun textured mix-ins and like thready mix-ins for art yarn. But yeah, I kind of want to sort it and organize it so that I know kind of what I have, slash it's not just this like massive overwhelming box that's just sitting in my room, because that's what it is right now and it's not great, I'll be honest with y'all. I do save all of my plastic bags that I get fiber in, or you know, just from other stuff, mostly fiber stuff though, and so I'm hoping to like use the larger ones to fill with like, I don't know, a certain yardage. I'm gonna try to estimate the yardage. Maybe I won't. That would be like something a smart person would do. I wouldn't just eyeball it, but like, I don't know, we're gonna see. So is it a few days later? Absolutely. Am I still scouring some of that Wensleydale? Also, yes, there's some of it soaking right now. I'm trying to multitask. I got a lot of stuff to catch up on, but my creative juices are definitely flowing again. So this is some of the cleaned Wensleydale, like finished, dried, all clean. This is the stuff, this is the half, I guess maybe the third that I didn't mordant. So yesterday I spent about an hour using alum to mordant some of these curls that I cleaned. And then today I put them in a solar dyeing pot. Before I say goodbye to you guys, I'll insert like a little clip of the solar dyeing pot that I made. It's just a thrifted glass container with some lac mixed into it. My measurements are not exact, but the last time I did this, I had really nice results. And then, or maybe it was like the first time I did natural dyeing, I had really great results, and I haven't had those same results since. And so I was really trying to imitate what I did the very first time that I did natural dyeing. And so I'm hoping that these locks come out really cool. As I mentioned, I finished spinning this guy in like a day. I also spun this, it's like a sunsetty, mostly warm colors, but obviously there's purple in there, sort of blend. And then I'm thinking of applying that with this, I think it's Cormo. Yeah, I got this from my friend Sam. They sent it to me for my birthday. This is some Cormo top, and it has a really beautiful oatmeal-y, like sandstone-y color, which I'm a really big fan of. Here it is on the wheel. And I think I'm going to apply those two together and then apply the leftovers of that like together as well, right? So I'll have one 2-ply with like one colored strand running through it and the other 2-ply without. And then I want to turn that into a finished object, I think. I'm back. My Crojo is back. It's finally cooling off here. And magically, all of a sudden, I want to make like things again. So first, this hat. I really need to finish this hat. And by finish, I mean I already wove in like all the ends and like it's done being made, but as you might be able to tell, it needs to be washed and blocked. So it's going to get a little bit bigger and it's going to become like the perfect size once it does. The inspiration for this was I wanted to use this rare wool. Now I'm blanking on which rare wool it is too. And it's one of my like favorites. I'm going to have to pull out like the little cue card for it. I found the little card. This is why I keep all these little references. So this is 100% Castle Milk Morit on the top. And then I used the loopy mango, like floofy, kind of thicker mohair yarn. That mohair part isn't like necessarily right up against my head. So like, I don't know, I feel like if you were kind of mohair sensitive, this might not bother you as much. Maybe it would. I don't know. The goal was to make it look like it was like a normal hat with like a mossy little outside. And I feel like that accomplished. I'm not sure if this is going to end up on the shop or not. I've been thinking about doing another crochet update with some like finished objects again, but like with a different style and purpose. I was thinking of doing like hand spun halvesies where I like make things that are half hand spun and half commercial yarn. Even though I feel like people want the 100% hand-spun stuff, but also then it's really, really expensive because like I had to take the time to like and effort to spin the yarn, and then I'm also making it into something. Now that that hat is done too, I started casting on this little hand-spun project. This one's gonna be 100% hand-spun. I haven't really formalized exactly what the hat is gonna say yet, but there's gonna be text on this one using the leftover of the Castle Milk Morit, because I do have like a nice amount of that left still, but not enough to do an entire piece. So we're gonna use this really great hand spun that I made a while ago. I ended up turning it into a fractal spin. It's targy wool, so it's super bouncy and like super squishy and soft. And I already really love the way that it's working up. I just really like the colors in this and like the ratios of the colors. Yeah, I think besides the way that I've decided to store these giant things of Selvedge, I don't really have many other updates, so I do think this is probably going to be the end of the podcast for this week. I know it's a short one. I know it's mostly clips of me like scouring fleece, which is probably why you clicked on this video, because you wanted my tips for how to scour older fleeces, and I hope my tips did help you. There's not as much information online as I would have expected about this subject. There's mostly just the consensus that like it is more difficult to scour fleece the longer you wait to actually scour it. Then for now, this is how I am storing the selvage. My plans for the selvage have actually changed a little bit. I might end up making like a giant rug or something, or a giant blanket. I don't know what I'm making with the selvage yet. I might turn it into its own project. I might not even like spin it and ply it with a ton of stuff, or at least not like all of it, just because I have so much still. I'm still organizing it. But I decided to roll it up into giant balls because there is no other way to store something this bulky. Like, I can't put it in skeins, it's just too big. So this is our solution. Always thank you for watching, fiber friends, and welcome to all the new folks that just joined us fairly recently. I've had a lot of newcomers. Thank you for all the new subscribers on the channel. I know some of you came from other YouTubers, some of you came from TikTok. Regardless, I'm happy you're here, and if you watched this part of the video, go put in the comments what you want to see in some of the future fall videos. I am very open to suggestion.